Okay, today we're going to talk about equivalent forms of rational numbers. So what even is a rational number? So if you'll read up here, it says a rational number is a number that can be written in the form a over b, where a is an integer, right? So any positive or negative whole number, and b is any non-zero integer. So again, positive or negative whole number as long as it's not zero. The expression a over b means a divided by b. You can represent a rational number as a fraction or as a decimal. Okay, so it says write the following fractions in simplest form and then identify the GCF. Okay, so we're going to look at 12 and 20 and we're going to figure out what they're both divisible by. Okay, you do not have to find the GCF right away. I can say, well, those are both divisible by 2. That gives me 6 over 10. Well, what are these two both divisible by? By 2 again. And that gives me 3 over 5. Are 3 and 5 divisible by anything the same? No, so this is in simplest form, and my GCF is 2 times 2, which is 4. So if you end up dividing by multiple things, you just multiply them together to get your GCF. Okay, so 50 and 150, you might say, well, those are both divisible by 10. So that's 5 over 15. Those are both divisible by 5. So that's 1 over 3. So what was our GCF? 10 times 5 was 50. Okay, let's look at this next one, 40 and 42. Those are both divisible by 2, which gives me 20 over 21. Are 20 and 21 divisible by anything again? No, so I divided by 2, and that would be my GCF. So why don't you guys try these 3, and let's see what you get. Okay, on 42 over 63, you should have got 2 over 3 with a GCF of 21. On 15 and 25, you should have got 3 over 5, with your GCF of 5. And then on this third one, you should have got 3 over 8, and your GCF was 9. Okay, on the bottom left, it says write the fraction as a decimal, round to 3 decimal places. Okay, so we're going to tip it over. 3 divided by 11. Because I'm rounding to 3 decimal places, I'm going to put 4 zeros because I need to know what my 4th decimal would be to know whether I'm going to leave my 3rd decimal place alone or round it up. So 11 does not go into 3. 11 goes into 30 2 times. 2 times 11 is 22. 8, bring down a 0. 11 goes into 80 7 times. 7 times 11 is 77. I subtract, that's a 3. I bring down a 0. 11 goes into 30 2 times. 2 times 11 is 22. You can see what's happening here, right? Okay, so if my instructions are to round to 3 decimal places, that means I have to look at the 4th decimal place. Is this 5 or more? Yes, so that would round my score and make that 0.273. Okay, I'm well aware that it's 0.27 repeating, but because the instructions said to round to the 3rd decimal, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and then I have 2 and 4/5. So I'm going to not forget about, but I'm going to leave this 2 for right now, and I'm just going to tip over 4 divided by 5. 5 does not go into 4. 5 goes into 40 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40, and I'm done, right? There's no 3 decimals because I have a remainder of 0. It went in even. So it's not just 0.8 though, it's 2 wholes and 4/5. Well, 4/5 is 0.8, so it's 2.8. Okay, and then at this right-hand box, it says write each decimal as a fraction. Okay, and it should kind of say fraction or mixed number. I feel like that's pretty understood, but Sorry, I'm moving my chair. Okay, so for this first one, we have the whole number 1, and then we have 345 in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place. Okay, so 1 and then 345 over 1,000. But what I need to do now is I need to simplify 345 over 1,000. So what are 345 and 1,000 both divisible by? Well, they both end in a 5 or a 0, so I'm going to do 345 divided by 5. 5 goes into 34 6 times, that's 30, and then it goes into 45 9 times, so 0. So it goes in 69 times, so my final answer is going to be 1 and 69 over 200, because I know that 5 goes into 10 twice, into 100 20 times, and into 1,000 200 times. Okay, so 0.42, that's just 42 in the tenths, hundredths place. 42 and 100 are both divisible by 2, so that gives me 21 over 50. On this one, I have 235 in the 1,000ths place, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, they end in a 5 and a 0, so I'm going to see, well, how many times can 5 go into 235? Well, 5 goes into 23 4 times, and then 5 goes into 35 7 times. So that simplifies to 47 over 200. So 0.45, that's 45 in the hundredths place. 5 goes into 45 9 times and into 100 20 times. And then this bottom one, that's 7. It's kind of hard to see 0.2. So a 2 in the tenths place. And so 2 and 10 are both divisible by 2. And so we can simplify that to 7 and 1/5. So why don't you pause the video for a second and do these 3, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, for 2.55, you would have 2 and 11 twentieths. It started off as 55 over 100, and then I divided by 5. On this one, it started as 24 over 100 and ended up being 6 over 25. And then 5.87 is 5 and 87 over 100. And you can't simplify that.